Welcome to the RadioU podcast. Coming up, why the secret to defeating your phone addiction could be a bean.
Also, the Powerball may be $1.3 billion, but you ain't getting $1 billion.
All that and more on the way next. Hudson and Allie here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, review, rate, whatever you do with podcasts. Leave some kind words. We are here. There's college football talk coming up later in the podcast, but we like to sometimes start with weird baseball stuff.
Yeah.
And Allie, I hope you were watching the Guardians lose to the Red Sox yesterday so you could have seen firsthand today's weird baseball stuff.
No, I wasn't watching this game. I forgot that they were starting a series against one another, honestly.
Yeah, well, you've given up on the season, rightfully I would say.
Yeah, it's not looking good for my Guards.
Well, you missed out because Trevor Story of the Red Sox hit the shortest home run of the baseball season, the shortest home run that was not an inside-the-park home run.
Yeah.
It was 306 feet. He hit a home run that hit off of the glove of the Guardians outfielder. I believe it's
John Kenzie Noel.
Noel, Big Christmas. It hits his glove, hits the foul pole, bounces back. I believe it hits his glove again, and then bounces into foul territory. Yep. Where at first it was ruled a double, I think, but obviously very confusing.
Yes.
Upon review, it was determined to be a home run.
Yeah, once it hit off of Noel's glove and then hit the foul pole, that made it a home run. Because as we all know as baseball fans, if you're able to hit the foul pole, that's a home run. But yeah, this home run's wild to look at because you have to pay close attention to even see it hit the foul pole. Yeah. Because mainly what you see is it dropping out of Noel's glove and it just looks like it falls into foul territory. But yeah, it was wild.
And then eventually he gets the ball back and throws it back into the infield. Or he throws it back like he caught it or whatever.
Well, because he's probably thinking it's like a double, because if it would have just hit off of his glove and then into foul territory, then that is a live ball.
Oh, yeah. So he grabs it off of the wall, which, by the way, that's a stupid rule.
What?
That, if it hits off his glove and goes over the fence, it should be a home run. It should not be a ground rule double.
Well, at that point, it was going into foul territory, so it would have just been a ground rule double if, he couldn't access the ball after that.
Yeah. So, that would be, wouldn't that be, there's a way that you could use that to your advantage as an outfielder, which is why it's a dumb rule. But nevertheless, it's the rule. But this time, the way that it went down, it benefited the Red Sox. They were going to win anyways. They won by several runs, but it was fun. I also don't like
Wasn't it only 6-4?
This put them up 6-3 or 5-3, but
I think the final score was 6-4.
They led the whole game, so I was never worried.
But it wasn't like they were thrashing them.
Well, you're up 6-4, and then you bring Aroldis Chapman in, and against the Guardians' anemic lineup, you don't know.
Were you about to say the Rockies?
Yeah, it was. Your lineups are very similar at this point.
I mean, they're all batting pretty rough numbers.
Yeah, so. That was our weird baseball stuff. I also wanted to point out that so many instances of replay this weekend that have so frustrated me in college football and in baseball, where it's just I am done with replay. Yeah. I think we have too much replay now.
I would agree with you on that. There was a replay in the Ohio State-Texas game with the Texas catch for the one touchdown they had.
Yeah.
With the ball. It was hard to really tell. I don't think there was any way you could overrule what was called on the field, which was touchdown. But you can, in the very slow down, motion of it, it's you can see the ball bobbles. And so, but it's just...
In every catch where the player comes in contact with the ground...
It's going to bobble a little bit.
It bobbles. Yeah, that doesn't mean they didn't catch it.
Yeah.
And it didn't overturn the Ohio State Texas touchdown.
No.
It did. You had the exact same scenario play out in the LSU Clemson game, which was and it did overturn it.
Yep,
and it was ridiculous.
It took away LSU's touchdown. Would have been a much better win for them, as far as just a more impressive win. So yeah, that's why I honestly look at that game as LSU got a little bit, if you just were final score watching, you may think it's a close game.
Yeah.
But actually, LSU really dominated that game against Clemson.
Yeah, I feel like we have a little bit of replay overload.
It's true.
Especially like all the frame by frame stuff.
Yeah, because it's like, that's not realistic. That's not how the refs can watch the game. So.
Right. And that's not how anybody's watching at home. You're watching at home, you think you see an amazing catch, and then, it shook a little bit. It didn't touch the ground, but it did,
it did
just
bobble.
Ever so slightly vibrate. And so, because he came into the contact with the ground at I don't know what speed, but, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
We don't need this. We don't need this.
We definitely don't need this. Speaking of crazy catches, did you see the catch that the Miami player made?
Yes, that is
wild.
He bailed out Carson Beck.
Oh, completely bailed him out. That was a terrible throw not a terrible throw, but just like an ill-advised throw because you had the safety right behind him that was just like lining up for the ball to fall right in his arms, and makes a very acrobatic catch and saves him. And I think that was probably, in my opinion, the most evenly matched game we got all weekend.
Yeah. I came away from that. Of all the teams that lost, I think Notre Dame was the most impressive because they were starting a freshman quarterback on the road in crazy weather and everything.
They're going to be fine. They're making the playoff.
Yeah. They also only have like one other tough game the rest of the season. I promise I'm just doing this to give us something to look forward to. But now that Labor Day is over, the next holiday is Halloween.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
8772 RadioU. It's kind of, I'm trying to give us something to look forward to, but it is kind of sad because that's a whole 2 months. And you don't even get a day off of work for Halloween.
No.
This is a fun time of year, but also I hate these long stretches with no paid days off. Should have scheduled a vacation. But with Halloween coming up, you're going to notice Spirit Halloween's popping up all over the place in abandoned stores if they haven't already. And Spirit Halloween has something new for Halloween, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. But Allie, what do you think as our horror aficionado? Spirit Halloween is going to be selling horror babies.
Yeah.
That are basically like Baby Yoda figures, but they're decorations, but they're with famous horror movie characters.
Yeah, so basically picture a horror movie villain as an infant.
A killer.
A killer infant.
A baby killer.
Yeah, so you got Chucky, you've got Ghostface, little Michael Myers, Leatherface, Pennywise, and my favorite of the group, Terrifier, Art the Clown.
Yes.
Yeah.
All the classics.
Yep.
They've got. You can get different sizes of them. It goes up to $15 for the smallest size or $55 for the biggest. It does raise an interesting question. If posed with the opportunity, you found Art the Clown, the baby, would you kill it?
What?
To prevent the future horrors that Art the Clown carries out on people.
The classic moral dilemma.
Yeah,
if
right.
you had an option to strangle Hitler in his cradle, would you do it?
Exactly.
I would not. But I will say, as a horror fan, I've mentioned plenty of times, Scream, my favorite franchise. I need this Ghostface. The little mini Ghostface with the pink outfit. It's instead of wearing like the black hood, it's wearing a pink one. I need it.
Yeah, I figured that this is going to take off. This is going to be very popular.
It's right up my alley, and I'm sure many others, because a lot of people love these horror movies.
There's some people that are going to have this entire collection.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if I'd go that far, but I will say I have never been a huge Chainsaw Massacre fan. Leatherface is adorable. Adorable.
But this is bad that they're making killers adorable.
I know. This is a problem. Leatherface
They're supposed to be scary.
Leatherface is a cannibal wielding a
chainsaw.
Yeah. So, yeah, but he's adorable as a little infant. I can't lie.
This is, I can't help but feel like this is desensitizing us also to horror as well.
Yeah, but I mean, the horror movies are already fake, so I don't think you need to worry about that too much.
Are any of these, is Leatherface's Texas Chainsaw Massacre based off of real life events?
I don't think so. The Wrong Turn movies, which are also about like a cannibal family, might be based off of real life stuff with like Appalachia. but I don't think any of these particular characters are. Well, actually, that's not true. Ghostface, Scream was actually inspired by a series of murders that happened on the campus of Florida University, the University of Florida in Gainesville.
Yeah.
That's a crazy story. There wasn't a ghost face wielding, a knife.
They weren't wearing that
brandishing
mask.
a knife. Yeah.
That killer did not have that same as good branding.
No, that mask was made for the movie.
Yeah.
So, but that story, Scream, was inspired by that tragedy.
So this is what we've come to in 2025 in America. We're making real life killers, at least one of them, in a way, into little baby dolls that you can have and play with.
Yeah.
It feels problematic.
I think it's just a prop you put on out in your yard, but I guess you could play with it if you want.
Yeah, you're right. People are just going to decorate with them. Something to think about this week as we all experience a 4-day work week. What if this was how it always is?
What if we always got a long weekend, whether it was like Monday or Friday?
Yeah, what if we just had a 4-day work week permanently?
I know we've talked about this before, how much we would love that. But I do think that it'd be really hard to change the entire, American economy and system over to a 4-day work week. It takes some time, and I think there would still be people that don't. Because there were plenty of people sharing on social media how they were like, I'm celebrating Labor Day by laboring, because they were still working. So.
There's always going to be somebody working, even on Christmas.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But that doesn't mean we can't switch to a 4-day work week. What's funny is by the time Friday rolls around, for everybody that's just doing Tuesday to Friday this week, it's going to not feel different at all. That's what's sad to me.
Really? It
Yeah.
won't feel. I feel like it's already felt different. Because
it feels different today.
Yeah.
By the end of the work week, it won't. But just because it'd be hard to switch the United States to 4 days doesn't mean that it's not worth doing, especially because other countries have done it.
Okay.
And it seems to be going very well. For example, reports are coming from Europe that in the Netherlands, they work less hours than any other country in Europe. They are now down. The average person between 20 and 64 works an average of 32.1 hours a week in their main job.
Wow.
Yeah. So they're doing, that's 4 8-hour days. They've shrunk it down. And I think that is inspirational to us, that we should be able to. And they're not the only country that's like that.
Yeah.
But also you think that they work an average of 32 hours. That means a lot of people are working less than that.
Yeah, well, a lot of people.
Must be nice.
Apparently a lot of people in the Netherlands work part-time. So full-time work is not super common, or at least not as common as it is here in the United States. So, because I was reading more into this article, and it said for the longest time it really was like a lot longer than, let's say, here in the United States. Men working full-time and women staying at home. And then in the 80s, women started going in more into the workplace, and they were getting like part-time jobs. And that still seems to be mostly the case there.
Interesting.
Isn't that interesting? I was like, okay, I didn't know that they were still living a life kind of like that.
Yeah, a little more traditional.
Yeah.
Or at least with some callbacks to the past.
Yeah.
More so than we would have here. It also says that the Netherlands, despite these short working hours, is one of the richest countries in Europe. And it says they have very high productivity per hour. And 82% of working age people have a job of some kind, which is apparently very high.
That is extremely high. I will say, too, I guess if you are working part-time or working less hours in general, there would be kind of a less of a reason to, retire or stop working, because you're not working that much. So it's not that big of a burden.
And I think if you're working less hours, it stresses you out less, which cumulatively over time, by the time here in the United States where you're like 65, 70 is when you're going to be retiring, because your health is starting to go downhill by that time.
Yeah.
If you don't have to work as much and you're less stressed, your health is going to be better.
100%.
So maybe this wouldn't be so bad, and it would be worth doing, and we should maybe be a forerunner.
Listen, I'm all about it.
We can be an innovator here at RadioU.
I'm all about it, but I am not convinced that the American productive spirit will allow this to happen.
I know, and we're lying to ourselves.
We are completely lying to ourselves because it shows that actually the less you work, or the less time you have at work, the more productive you are.
Right.
But for some reason, we are convinced that you need to stay at work all the time,
Right.
skip your lunch, skip vacation, never
Put
take
in
a sick
overtime,
day.
yeah.
Yeah, and you're the most productive person and most valuable person ever. It's like, actually, no, you are making yourself not very productive at all. Well, it's about time that we headed back to space because it's been a minute since we've had an in-space update for everybody. And this is a pretty exciting one because everyone could technically get involved with this.
Oh, boy.
This is about NASA's first manned trip to the moon in over 50 years, Project Artemis. We've talked about
50 years.
Crazy.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before. They are actually in need of volunteers for this project. The space agency announced last week that it's crowdsourcing Earthside support for the Artemis mission. Artemis 2, which is tentatively slated for April 2026, will carry 4 astronauts on a 10-day lunar flyby, marking the first time humans have ventured beyond Earth's orbit since the Apollo program.
All right, so they want us to volunteer to go?
No, they want it to be Earthside, as I said.
Okay.
Earthside support. So volunteers with well-equipped ground stations can apply to keep tabs on the mission's Orion spacecraft via radio signals as it transports the 4 astronauts through space. So they must have expertise in the capture and consistent monitoring of the Orion signal and or similar S-band signals, which is basically a deep space radio signal.
Okay.
And they also have to be able to have access or be able to generate and document one-way Doppler tracking data, which Doppler is just like regular radar.
Okay.
So yeah, this is something where pretty much anyone can do this, but you do need to be aware of these things and also like have the capability to monitor some of this stuff.
And how much does it pay?
It's volunteer, Hudson.
Yeah, but you can be paid to be a volunteer. There's paid volunteers.
I don't see any compensation on this this article.
So why would you do it?
I mean, why wouldn't you want to be involved with Artemis 2?
Because I'm busy. I'm a busy man. I got things to do.
Then you're not the right man for the job.
You want me
don't
to
have
just,
don't
out of the
volunteer
goodness
if
of
you
my
can't.
out of the goodness of my heart, do this with all this equipment that you need and whatever?
I don't
all
want
this expertise.
I don't want you to do this if you don't want to. I want people that want to help NASA and want to help Artemis 2 and the astronauts. I want them to do it.
Why would they want to do it if they don't get paid?
There are so many people who their hobby is just space stuff, like finding exoplanets and monitoring, comets and asteroids and all sorts of different things and lunar paths and all of that. So I feel like there are plenty of people that have the capability to do this and will sign up for this.
This sounds like a classic job listing. We want you to be dedicated. We want you to have 18 years of experience as a manager and leader in this field.
Right.
And we're going to pay you absolutely nothing to do it.
Yeah.
Classic.
You'll just have a little badge that says, I helped NASA Artemis 2.
This doesn't even sound like you're giving me that, actually. So
they have to be giving you something official if they are making you apply for it.
This is, you know what? You can put it on your resume.
Yeah.
You can be like...
Good point. It's a resume builder.
Yeah.
Which is what every college professor told you when you signed up for an unpaid internship.
Exactly. This is an unpaid internship. And guess what, buddy? It's not going to get you anywhere at SpaceX when you add this. Any job that actually pays, they're not going to take this seriously at all.
Oh.
I have some good news and bad news about the Powerball. I'll start with the bad news.
Okay.
There's no winning tickets from last night's drawing.
No, like full amount winner.
Yeah. Nobody got the jackpot from last night. If you have a ticket and you were hoping, you did not win last night.
Sorry.
You didn't win over $1 billion. But the good news is when that happens, of course, that means the jackpot goes up. And so now we're talking for the next drawing, $1.3 billion.
Oh my goodness. So it's made it over the billion and not just a little bit, by a lot.
Yeah, this is well over $1 billion. And the next drawing is tomorrow night for anybody who wants to spend a little to possibly win a lot.
A lot of money. Do we know the amount that you can get if you just decide to get the lump sum? How much is that?
It seems to be like, let's see. I have it right here. It would be $589 million before taxes.
Okay. Well, that's a little...
Or you could take the annuity payments, $5 million per year over 30 years.
Honestly, I would do that if ever I won.
Times 30, what does that equal?
I don't know.
5 times 3 is 15. So it'd be, is that $150 million? That seems like a bad deal.
That's all you get?
5 times 3 is...
Does
15,
that mean it doesn't get taxed if you do the annuity?
That's still...
I have no idea how this all works.
That's still a lot of taxing, though.
Yeah.
Or you'd have to be taxed like 80% of your lump sum for it to even out.
For it to be $1.3 billion and you only get like 10% of that.
Yeah. I think either this has a typo or you got to be taking that lump sum.
Right. That was just ridiculous at that point. So never mind. I wouldn't take the 30 years.
I hope that's wrong. I really do.
Yeah, that can't be right.
Although you could live pretty well on $5 million a year.
100% you could. But if you thought you were winning $1.3 billion and you're only getting 100, I think you'd be very disappointed.
This really makes me think if you play the lottery like in its normal amount, you are getting ripped off.
Oh, yeah. You're getting like nothing, which always...
I mean, you are getting ripped off. But.
Yeah, but I always thought it was funny because there was a show on HGTV years ago. I don't know if it's still on. I haven't watched that channel in forever, but it was like basically the concept was like house hunters, but for those that had just won the lottery. And they'd be spending so much money on these houses. And it's just like, don't do this to yourself because now you've just dropped all of this money on this house that's probably so expensive to maintain, so like such high taxes. Yeah. It's in a really nice area.
Insurance.
Yeah, all of that. And so now you have to be paying that every single year. It's not worth it. So it just felt like people were throwing their money away, which I know it really is normal for a lot of people that do win the lottery to be like bankrupt not long after.
You know what? If you give me $589 million, try to make me go bankrupt.
Try me.
Actually, that's a challenge. I'll take that as a challenge. $589 million. If I can go bankrupt, I mean, I think, you know what I'm doing? I'm stimulating the economy by pouring that much money into it. It's our Monday tradition. Yes, I know it's Tuesday, but yesterday was Labor Day. The box office breakdown, looking at what made money and what didn't in theaters over the weekend. Let us know what you've watched recently. We'd love to see your reviews at 8772 RadioU. A really slow Labor Day weekend at the box office.
Oh, really?
Really slow. So slow that Weapons, which has now been out for a month, was your number one movie in America.
No way.
It made $12 million over the entire long weekend.
Wow. What is it sitting at now for its total?
In North America, $134 million. So that is really good for a horror movie.
For a horror movie with its budget, it has made a lot of money.
It has. That might not say much about the box office as much as the number 2 movie in theaters this weekend, which was Jaws.
What?
You heard that right.
Jaws is back in theaters?
Which came out 50 years ago, which is why they re-released it this weekend as the 50-year anniversary version. Jaws made just shy of $10 million.
I'm so impressed by that.
Yeah.
For Jaws to be number 2.
I guess it didn't have a lot of competition, and it would be cool to have the Jaws theater experience.
Yeah.
Even though I'm sure, like, if you look in your town, if you have a couple of movie theaters, I bet you every summer one of those movie theaters shows Jaws as part of like their cheap movie series, you know?
They really should. You know, I had a family reunion over the weekend and we were talking about how this is happening a lot more with these big theater chains re-releasing these classic films. And I don't know why we haven't been doing this more, because everybody wants to watch these. I remember it started really with COVID, where they didn't have any new movies to show in theaters when they first opened back up. So they were like, come watch Jurassic Park in theaters. And I did. And I'm like, I think this is great because you get a discounted price to go see an older movie, but it's also really fun to see some of these older films, especially if you weren't alive at the time when they came out in theaters. To see them on the big screen is a fun experience to me.
Yeah, it seems like they need an excuse. Like it has to be an anniversary usually for them to do it, which means you only get to see them released every like 10 years or so in theaters. But I think Back to the Future is getting a special release later this year. Back to the Future,
I think the Clue movie is about to have a run in theaters for like Halloween.
Oh, really?
So it's just like a lot of these movies are doing this right now.
And coming in at number 3 in the box office this weekend, again, this was a slow week because Freakier Friday, which has also been out for a month now, was number 3. Then 4 and 5 were the new releases. The Roses, which keeps getting promoted to me. That's a movie with Andy Samberg and Kate McKinnon and Benedict Cumberbatch, I think. And then Caught Stealing, which we did talk about on Friday, was number 5.
Man, that did not do well.
No, it didn't. But it was, that was maybe Oscar-y possibly, but also just kind of niche. Like, it's not a blockbuster.
Yeah, that's fair.
8772 RadioU. We want to know your reviews of what you watched over the weekend or recently, and Allie and I will let you know what we've watched lately. We just did the box office breakdown. We got some people sending in their recent movie reviews. We were talking about how Jaws was number 2 at the box office this weekend. It had a 50th anniversary re-release.
Yes.
Adam says he saw The Wizard of Oz on a big screen, and it is a whole different experience.
That makes sense, especially if you saw like the colorized version of it.
Yeah. I think, I really do think, like, I love the theater. And so, like, movie theaters, not like Broadway. And so
I love both.
I do think that there's so many movies, or that it can be such a different experience seeing these classic movies that you're used to, that you grew up watching on whatever streaming service or TBS or whatever, and like seeing it on the big screen be entirely different.
Totally different experience. We also heard from Thomas, and he said he finally went to see Weapons.
The number 1 movie in America.
Yeah, he really enjoyed it. He said definitely more fun to go in not knowing much, keeps you guessing well into it. My brother and sister-in-law went to go see it as well. They loved it and said the exact same thing. Like, the less you know about this movie going into it, the better. It actually has a satisfying twist. So I really can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
I'm so mad that I haven't seen it yet.
But now you might as well just wait.
I know.
It's got to be on streaming soon. It's been out for a month.
I know. So I do want to see it. But
so what have you seen? What's the last thing you watched?
Honestly, I had every intention over this long weekend to watch Wednesday Part 1 for Season 2. But I have heard some things about it that has made me hesitant. And Part 2 of the season comes out this Wednesday, tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I've kind of been waiting because for me to watch Wednesday requires me to spend money because I have to fire up my Netflix subscription again, because I'm one of those people that if I'm not using a subscription, I stop it. Because why pay for something that you're not using?
Yeah.
So I've been a little bit hesitant to start it. I was planning to watch it yesterday, to use the day off to watch it, but I didn't get to it. So what I watched over the weekend was college football.
Okay, that's it. What did you do yesterday? There's no football until 8 o'clock or whatever.
Yesterday I was like cleaning, doing laundry, and just being a responsible adult.
You were laboring.
Yes.
I watched Thunderbolts because it was new on Disney Plus over the weekend.
What did you think?
And I think if that was like on the lower end, if all of the Marvel movies were that good, we could be really happy.
I agree.
But the problem is, I haven't seen Fantastic Four yet, but compared to the recent Marvel movies, it's definitely a step up.
Oh yeah.
But I really don't think it like ventures into. I remember people being pretty positive about it. I don't think it ventures into like a great Marvel movie.
No, it doesn't compare to any of my favorite Marvel movies, but I think I would agree with you that our standard for superhero movies has been so low recently, particularly Marvel. And so honestly, I was just happy to have a movie that I enjoyed.
Yeah. Now, I will say, I remember there is like the big spoiler at the end that was like, I didn't know exactly, but like some of it was spoiled for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. The asterisks. And so in a sense, I knew where it was going before even starting it. And the first half of the movie, I would say, I wasn't like, I'm not the kind of person that, I'm not going to say I can predict how every movie goes, but like when you know the ending too, you're like, I think I know how they're kind of going to get there.
Yeah.
And I did it. The first half of the movie kept me guessing a little bit.
Okay.
The second half of the movie, it does have a pretty decent emotional punch for a Marvel movie.
Yes.
But it also really seems to skimp on the actual punches. Once you get to the halfway point of the movie, it kind of really is like, this is, we're not going to have as much fighting anymore.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like people complain about Superman getting beat up too much. I would like somebody to get beat up in the, and like there is a halfway point in the movie too where some of the characters like start doing stuff that like to me, I'm like, wait, this doesn't really make sense that you're doing this. So it was like solid, enjoyed it.
Yeah. But our standards are lower.
Yeah. It's not the kind of thing I'm going to be thinking about a lot going forward though. So, but glad that there was at least a Marvel movie that I can enjoy. Now I do need to watch Fantastic Four though.
Yeah, I do too.
College football week 1 is behind us. Allie and I made our picks on Friday. One of us went 0-5, right?
Yeah.
It was me, so I'll have to be punished coming up here next. But I like to think that it wasn't me that went 0-5, it was the games that went 0-5.
Honestly, I am, this is another reason why these preseason rankings just need to stop because they're so misleading. And we really, truly don't know anything about these teams until they play the games. This is why we play the games.
I feel that it's so obvious looking back on it now, though, where I went wrong.
Where you were led astray?
Yeah. And it's because if you look at, like, what is the big theme of the top 10 games that took place or the big upsets or, you know.
Yeah.
It was the inexperience, the quarterback starting for basically the first time in a real game, going on the road.
Yep.
Not comfortable. Arch Manning, Ty Simpson, and CJ Carr, who actually played fairly well for Notre Dame, but is still on the road at Miami. First start for him. And so I did say this on Friday, and I think I was right, that we're going to look back at the end of the season once we're getting towards the conference championship games, and we're going to feel way different than we do today. Where everybody's clowning on Arch Manning because he looked bad against Ohio State. Hello, he's not played against somebody of that caliber.
Right.
And it doesn't mean Ohio State's not good and their defense is really good, but I think we would probably be thinking very much differently if the script was flipped and the game was in Texas. For example, there, I'm sure Alabama would have played much better if the game was in Alabama instead of Florida State. So I think we all just need we also only have 1 week of stuff to look at.
There's only one
everybody's
data
going to freak out. Yeah.
Yeah. There's only one data point. There's no reason to overreact. There's no reason to look at these results and be like, oh my gosh, Texas is done. Arch Manning is terrible.
Yeah.
You know, really, I don't think there's any evidence to show that. I don't think Arch Manning's going to have to face a defense that good the rest of the season, like the rest of the regular season. So he'll probably be fine. He's actually going to enjoy some cupcakes where he can get comfortable.
Yeah, they get 3 straight home games against directional schools coming the next few weeks. And then he plays Georgia next month.
Yeah, that's
that'll be a serious game.
That's a serious test, so we'll see. But I still have Texas winning the SEC. I think what we saw on Saturday was the 2 best teams in college football. A close game, a defensive battle, which we literally called that. It was going to be a defensive battle, a low-scoring game. That is exactly what we got. Now, I will say, did I think Ohio State's defense was that good? No. Matt Patricia, take a bow. That was good. Bow. That was an amazing... I don't even know how to describe it. The disguises that he was doing, the scheming that he was doing. Now, I will say, when you have Caleb Downs, it's a little easier to pull that stuff off because you can put him up by the line of scrimmage or you can throw him back. Whatever you want to do, it's going to work because you have Caleb Downs. But yeah, that was a great performance by Matty P and that defense by Ohio State.
Also, though, you think about how well Ohio State's defense played, how while their offense didn't set the world on fire, like it was mistake free.
Yes.
And Arch Manning looking kind of ridiculous for a decent portion of the game. And it was still, Texas was driving with a chance to tie the game.
Yep.
And if it wasn't for a couple dumb penalties on Texas that gave Ohio State the first touchdown, like the game could look entirely different.
Totally different.
So we just cannot, it's the first game of the year. It's exciting. Everybody's going to overreact. Let's just push pause. And like, even if you're an Alabama fan, I know they're all freaking out. I feel like that is a bad version of Alabama you saw against Florida State, but give them a few weeks, and I feel like Alabama's going to look like there's going to be times where Alabama fans are telling us how they're going to win the championship again later this year.
100%. We all know the delusional Alabama fans will come out. But I will say, out of all of the games where an upset happened, I didn't believe in Clemson. I mentioned that from the beginning, and so I don't have them making the playoffs. So I saw LSU winning that game from the beginning, but I did not see a 2-win Florida State team beating Alabama.
Yeah, that was a shock.
That was a huge shock.
But I'm happy for them.
I am happy for them and for their fans. They needed this. And Tommy Castellanos tried to tell us all season long Nick Saban couldn't save Alabama. They are the one team that I have in my playoff currently that I'm actually worried about.
Yeah.
I'm worried about them.
That was tough, but starting the season on the road against a highly motivated team and you have an inexperienced quarterback, it's like you cannot judge too harshly.
No.
Now, you're LSU, you go on the road and win against a team that returns a lot of production. That is impressive. LSU is the most impressive to me.
Yes.
Coming up, though, I did get more picks wrong. And so I will have to do a punishment here on the show. I will be a Frenchman.
We just wrapped up talking about our college football picks from last week. We both picked 5 games, and Hudson, he went 0-5. I did not do much better. I went 2-3, but 0-5 is worse than 2-3. So we did have a punishment that we came up with, and we're going to do this every single week, but it's going to be a different punishment. And that was if I lost, I had to do a whole break in a Texas accent. If you lost, you had to do a break in a French accent. So we have a Frenchman in the studio with us right now.
Yes, it is I. And can you blame me for going 0-5? We don't have college football in Quebec. We only have gravy, fries, and hockey.
Oh, so you're a Canadian Frenchman.
Yes, I am from Quebec. But we have the same ridiculous accent.
Yeah, it's definitely like French peas from VeggieTales. That's what I'm picking up. Have you seen VeggieTales?
No, I have not seen. I don't have what streaming service is that on?
You know what? I don't know. Maybe like Angel Studios if they have a streaming service.
And I only watch things in French.
Oh, well, I mean, maybe there could be a really cool French version of VeggieTales. I'll have to look that up. What about Monty Python and the Holy Grail? Have you seen that? You're sounding a little bit like that, too.
That's a little old for me. I am a Gen Z, and so Monty Python, when did that come out?
A long time ago.
don't I sound like a Gen Z? Don't I sound very a young French Canadian man?
Everyone from Gen Z says they are a Gen Z. You know,
yes,
everyone.
That's how we say it in French.
We're a Gen Z.
It does not translate well.
Okay.
To English.
Okay. Are you using like an AI translator right now? Is that what's happening?
No, I do speak English because it is on in the Canadian cereal boxes. I've learned because for some reason they put English on all of the products as well as French. And so I picked up on some English from that.
Yeah, your accent's fading a little bit there. I thought we maybe Hudson came back
becoming very Americanized
in the studio for a second.
I am becoming assimilated to your culture. I must leave.
It's very quick. That was really fast.
I must go back to my homeland. Back to French Canadia.
French Canadia.
Let me tell you a lie that I feel like everybody believes. Everybody believes at some point in their life. And that is That one day you'll grow up enough to not have to worry anymore. 8772 Radio U.
That's a total lie.
Yeah.
I feel like as you get older, the more worries you have in life.
I think that's true, but I think especially when you're growing up, but I still think this continues to persist as you go through your adult life, is that you're like, once I'm an adult, I don't have to like answer to nobody, and I'm just like, everything's going to be like, I'm going to be able to just live my life and not have to worry about stuff. And it doesn't happen. Like you think, like I've gone through this. I can tell you a bunch of the steps along the way of things where I was like, once this happens, then everything will be okay. And then like the rest of life is just a straight line to the end. Like
just coasting to the end.
Before I had a girlfriend, I was like, once I have a girlfriend, things are going to change. Things are going to be better. And what I found was, at least for the first few girlfriends, it actually makes things much worse. I was like, once I have a job and I have money, like I'm going to be able to pay for whatever I want and everything's going to be fine. And that's not true.
No.
And while we don't get paid too handsomely here at Radio U, like we have enough, we should be able to not worry about things. But somehow, it's funny, the more money you make, the more you find bills to spend it on.
Yeah, the more you find ways to suddenly worry about money.
Yeah. Or you think like, like once I get to this, like not necessarily for money wise, but like once I get to this job that I'm comfortable with, like everything's going to, and there's these, you tell yourself these things over and over again.
Yeah.
And you just think like there's that next thing. And part of it is like a grass is always greener syndrome. Part of it is whack-a-mole, where you just like,
you have to move on to the next thing.
Once you've accomplished one thing or you have nailed down one thing, it's like, finally, I don't have to worry about this anymore. All of a sudden you find another thing that you have to worry about.
Yeah.
The worries don't go away.
No.
At least they've never have for me. And I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that the worries can go away in your life. I've yet to meet anybody who's had that, even if they are super successful and whatever. But what you can have is the assurance that when the worries come, that you have something you can fall back on, that you have a relationship with Jesus, that even despite how there will always be a worry that pops up, you can always count on Jesus to be like, he's bigger than that worry. And I always like being able to look back now. I just listed all the things I thought would fix everything for me. They didn't.
Yeah.
But the way that you can look back and go, God got me through those things, got me through the time where I didn't have the thing that I thought I needed. And then when the thing I thought I needed didn't work out, Jesus was always there to help.
Yeah. I remember my dad always used to say this thing. He said, if you're alive, you've got problems.
Yeah.
It just, that's how life works. And so, yeah, I don't think there's really any way that you can avoid that, but there is a way that you can help yourself with the issues, problems, worries that you have in life. And I would say the number one solution to that definitely is a relationship with Jesus.
Yeah. Because otherwise, where do you go? Where do you go when you worry?
Where do you turn to?
Yeah. Yeah, there's probably a lot of other options you could take, and a lot of them are just going to leave you with additional worries themselves.
Yeah.
God's not going to do that to you. God's going to say, give your worries to me, and I will handle them for you. Jesus is always there to do that for you, and all you need to do is say, hey, God, I know the worries never disappear, but I want you to help me handle them. And he will. If you want to know more, radiou.com/free gift is a great place to start. There's a new #1 app in the App Store, and it's actually trying to get people to stop looking at their phones.
Oh.
8772 Radio U. This the new #1 app in America. It rose up the ranks this weekend. It's called Focus Friend.
Okay.
And people are saying that it actually is helping them break their phone addiction.
So it's helping them focus.
Yeah. How it works is Focus Friend. You are introduced. I downloaded it this morning.
Okay.
You are introduced to a little bean. You get to name, it's a cartoon bean. You get to name the bean.
Oh, that's going to make you want to keep the bean.
Yeah. So I named my bean Gurn.
Gurn?
I thought that'd be a good name for a bean. And your bean loves to knit.
Okay.
But every time you look at your phone, it distracts him. And so he stops knitting and loses his progress.
Oh.
And so you set like a break timer that you will go certain periods of time without looking at your phone, without picking up your phone. And then if you do, it interrupts him. But if you don't, he knits things for his little apartment and you get to like decorate his apartment.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That is a brilliant idea.
It is pretty fun. I suppose. I feel like it's not motivating me quite as much, but it's also only been this morning. I haven't really seen what he's knitted yet.
You're going to have to show me because that's so cute.
But it is. But if I show you, it'll interrupt him.
Oh, but I mean, when he's done.
Yeah, I'll keep you updated.
What timer did you put on him?
I put on like 2 hours because like I shouldn't really be looking at my phone while we do the show.
He should be able to knit a lot
He should.
in that 2 hours.
But I also kind of messed up and looked at my phone a time or two. So,
so
I don't know if that messed him up. I don't know. I haven't checked yet. I haven't checked to see.
Hudson.
But,
Dang it.
Yeah, Gurn should be hard at work.
Okay, Gurn.
Gurn the bean.
We believe in you, Gurn.
But are you going to do this?
No.
No?
I don't like
You're just going to live vicariously through my bean?
Yes, I will. I don't like having apps on my phone.
But what if it's an app that helps you not look at other apps? You could have this one app and think about all the other apps you could delete because you won't be looking at your phone anymore.
I'm good. I already know that I look at my phone too much, so.
And your bean is here to help.
I mean, I don't think it's that big of a distraction for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because like whenever I compare my like amount of screen time to like friends, I'm always like, wow, I'm impressed with myself, honestly.
You look at your phone like every time we're not talking.
It's true. And during the show, it's hard for me not to look at my phone.
I know, so you need the bean.
Because my cousins text me throughout the entire show most of the time.
You need the bean. But you know what? It's also not really fair that like my timer for while we're doing the show to try to get him to knit, that I'm not looking at my phone because I'm not looking at my phone, but I am staring at a computer screen.
Yeah, so it's not that you're not looking at a screen.
Yeah, I'm not focusing on anything.
Yeah.
I'm very distracted.
You're definitely not having screen time right now.
Also, while my bean Gurn is very cute, I do think that this is not quite the motivation that I need. But I think with a few tweaks, I think the idea here is very smart.
Okay.
I just think this isn't the kind of thing that's going to motivate everybody. So you make some adjustments. Like, what if instead of a bean, it was a potato? Or even better, what if it was the Kool-Aid Man? I would be much more motivated to let the Kool-Aid Man do his thing and stop looking at my phone, especially if the Kool-Aid Man was like...
Making Kool-Aid?
No, not Kool-Aid, but maybe like sports memorabilia.
Oh.
Something like that.
Decorating with sports memorabilia.
Exactly, yeah. I think that would motivate me more than... Gurn the bean and his knitting.
That does sound like something that would motivate you. But I do think that for a lot of people, this is a nice little wholesome way to get them to stop, focusing on their phones.
Yeah. So Focus Friend, the new #1 app. If you get it, let us know how it works, but don't break your bean streak because that would defeat the entire purpose.
Thanks for listening to the RadioU podcast. Don't forget to rate and review the show.